Hey folks, thanks for tuning in. This episode is another episode on the 1978 Honda CB550K. I had hoped to get this bike done in May. It is now August 30th. So stuff happens, but this is another step in the path to getting that bike done. So it's just, a bunch of assembly kind of stuff on the CB550. So please watch and enjoy, and thank you so much for watching. So there's a bunch of bolts and nuts on here, and if you try to replace every nut and bolt, it gets really expensive. And on top of that, it is kind of cool to have the original Honda bolt. That's a Honda bolt. You see that little insignia there. So like this one was all rusty, and I was able to kind of restore it a little bit. You could see this when you restore a bolt, but thought I'd show what I'm doing. So I wire wheel to clean off rust. But if you just wire wheel it, as soon as it gets, like if you wash the bike, get moisture on it, it'll flash rust. So I found that if you polish it, it will last for a little while. I don't know how long it will last because usually I get rid of these bikes, but it seems to work. For instance, here's the swing arm bolt. It's got grease on it. This is the rear axle, and they look pretty good. So here's the before. And here's the after. Okay, it's been a while since I did any videos. I had like 3 weeks off of work, and I had drove myself crazy with a whole bunch of KDX80s. I didn't film any of it. I won't get into it. But back on the CB550s, the CB550. So where I left off was the engine. Bottom end is ready to go back in. There's a bunch of hardware to mount the engine. I cleaned that all up, polished it. I painted some of the stuff. I got to remember where everything goes. I have to put this electrical stuff all back on this little electrical box thing. And then I have to put these rubber thingies back in the now painted battery box. I've been working on this clutch cover, trying to polish it. I'm not very good at that. So there's 3 covers. There's the stator or whatever this is, the generator, that needs to be cleaned up. This has been vapor blasted. That's the sprocket cover. So that has to be cleaned up, and then this is the clutch cover, and that's been cleaned up, but I'm trying to polish it. So step one is to get the engine back in here, and it looks like probably just like same thing as with the Z1R. You got to get the back of it in here, and then in between here. So I did just paint all this, but that was a while ago, so now it's all nice and dry at least. So I will take some rags and put some rags on the rails so that when I maneuver the engine in here, you know, you get these things. I don't make a mess of the paint. I don't want to make a mess of this paint or the paint on the engine. I spent all that time painting it to make it look nice. So I will put these on. All right, let's put this engine in. Gotta get this back part down there. I don't think it's a super tight fit. I think there's a spacer. Get the oil pan down there. Almost. Okay. It's not probably very good paint. There it is right there. Okay. Right. Now, let's see. So I got the back bolt in. Now I can use that as a pivot and pull up the engine and get these rags out. Okay, that one. Right. Okay, so I think there's a... So it's secured here, and there's a spacer that goes there. There's this another spacer that goes on this bottom one, and this also holds on the foot pegs. I'll have to take that back out. But there's this one here, that's a bolt that goes all the way through, and then there's like these triangle things, just like on the Z1R. Alright, so let's see. This one goes in here. There's a dowel. I don't know if it's a dowel, a spacer, whatever. Okay, goes like right through there. Through the engine. And then on the other side, there's like the clutch. So here's the clutch actuator arm, and there's a cable comes down like this. And yeah, this goes like that. So there's two bolts that hold this on, but I think they also hold on the battery battery holder, the battery tray, whatever, battery box. So I will go figure that out, and set the one in the bottom here. How does that work? Okay, so the one in the bottom is not a straight, I'm looking at this one here, so it's not a straight bar that goes through. There's like, I've got a couple options over here. So it's like that, or that, or that. Maybe it's one of those. And then these are related to this. So these 4 bolts, I believe, go here. Yeah, okay. So one of these is bigger, yes. So 2 of these go up front in here. So the triangle goes like in here. I'll just do it rather than try to explain it. Alright, so before I tighten that up, I need to go figure out where the spacer thing goes. I think I see it. So I don't know if you can see here, but there's a gap. Get the flashlight. So you see there, where there's that gap right there. See if I can get my finger right in there. So there's a spacer thing, which is here. So that has to go in there. But I gotta take that thing out anyway because I have to put the foot peg on. Thing. I keep saying thing. I should be more descriptive. So I'm talking about this big bolt that's holding the engine up. So you can see the bolt goes, it's a double male bolt or shaft or whatever. Okay, so that's on there. Alright, so I've got this motor mount and this motor mount on each side done. The 2 rear motor mounts I'm going to leave for now because I want to make sure I have access to everything. So now I'm going to take this, whatever this, I think this is an empty case actually, that I was just using to move the engine around. I have to go find some good screws. I have a stash of stuff somewhere. I took this bike apart like 2 years ago, so I'm not sure where this stuff is. Alright, so need to get it this so I can turn the engine over when I put the top end together. So should I put the head on now? Because what I'm dealing with is so before I can put oil in it, and before I can really put the kickstand, not the kick, the brake, the kick lever, although I can put that on whenever, before I can put the brake lever and all that stuff on, yeah, I need to polish the clutch cover and then install it. This has to come off, so I'm glad I didn't tighten that. There. Alright. That is all set, I hope. Okay, so I can leave that. And so why don't I focus on trying to get the head on there and go find all the hardware for the head. So I think there's nuts for all of these. 1, 2, 3, 6. So there's 12 nuts, and then there's a screw that goes here. I don't know what happened right here. And there's a screw that goes here, and the little O-ring things. So I gotta go find the hardware for the head, and then I can clean up this surface, put the O-rings in, the head gasket, and put the head on there. The head is right over here. Here, it's all painted. Yeah, ground the valves, and it's all set to go back in. This is the oil filter. These are the little intake manifolds, so I can get this stuff. And that's the SL125 engine, SL125. This goes to this thing, and I'll put this over here. That's where the hardware is for the head. What else? So all that junk over there on the table. So these are carburetors. There's a set of carburetors in here which are usable. Those are some pod filters for the carbs. I bought a cable set. Not sure why I brought that down. I think maybe it's missing some hardware from this light. So this is the light. Oh, the ring is not very nice. That's what it is. This has a nicer ring on it. I think this has a nicer ring. That goes to the Kirker. Oh, grips. Okay. Yeah, some of the stuff I'm just like, what is this? Oh, that goes to the headlight. Yeah, the headlight bucket. So yeah, I'll have to put this mess back together. And clean that up again. Okay, what was I doing? The head, right. So let me get the hardware for the head all set up, and then I can put the head on. I'll tell you one thing, this head is way lighter than the KZ1000 head. Alright, so I've got my gasket in place, I've got my little rubber O-ring. Maybe I should show that. So I cleaned up the surface of the head and the cylinder. I put the head gasket in place. I don't love the alignment of this oil hole, because this is the rubber thing, and the O-ring kind of gets pushed out of place by the head gasket. This one is fine. So there's two rubber O-rings. Those things love to leak when they get hard. It's one of the places they leak from. I think this one was leaking. That was one of the reasons why I took it apart. Okay. Enough of that. The big valves are the intakes. So let's see. Over here, I cleaned up all of the head washers and nuts, 12 of them, and I gotta put those on. And then there's 2 bolts, which I should probably polish. This is for the front and the back, here and here. So that's the long one. This is the short one. And what is this? That must be where this goes. Yep. Okay. Well, I won't get ahead of myself. I'll come back when I torque the head down. Yeah, so this is actually a bit of an undertaking to put the washers and the nuts on the head. So you can see here, every one of the head nuts is in like this little hole. So every one of the washers, 12 washers and 12 nuts. And so I have this thing. And I've got the washer on this little prong here. And stick it in the hole and let it go. And then I've got some grease on a deep 12mm socket. Put the nut on there and get it started. I did chase each of the nuts individually, clean them up. Okay, that one's on there, so pretty tedious. Okay, well, took the head right back off of there because I did not follow the instructions properly. And the inner chain guide goes inside the cam chain, is where I thought it went on the outside. So there's a mark that says up, and that is supposed to point to the rear, and it does not. It's right here. Luckily, I can take this out without having to take the cylinder off, because I really don't want to do that. But what I will do is take off this head gasket. Okay, get that out of the way. So there's the word up. So this is supposed to go in here. This. is. Alright, so it goes like that. At least that's what it says. Okay. Alright, well. Leave that like that. Make sure I got the little O-rings back in their spots. Come on, go in there. Paranoid about those O-rings because they are very important. Get that one's in place. Oh, that one was in place. Come on. Fine. Alright, so I've been, there's a sequence that you torque down the head nuts. It's basically crisscross kind of pattern, boom, 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 and then you work in. So I've got them to 13 foot-pounds. I'm going to go up to 16 and a half. Alright, so that's done. So now I gotta put the cam in place and then I can put the tapper cover on. Alright, getting ready to put the cam in. Remember one of these I did, it was super easy, and the last one I did, it was a pain in the ass to get the sprocket in there. Put it in from the right side. I put it in from the left side. Okay, let's see if that makes a difference. From the right side. This is the right side. I put it in from the correct side. Alright, well, it's going to take some time. Alright, well, I just messed around with this thing for like an hour. I followed the manual which said bring it in from the right side, the camshaft. Slide the camshaft together with the cam chain sprocket into place from the right side. This is the right side. If you put it in that way, there's no way to do it. If you put it in from the left side, go over to the right, and you have the chain on this part, you can slip it over. So that took forever. So the engine is on 1.4, and this mark, this notch is supposed to be pointed there. So now I have to get the sprocket to line up with that, or what do I have to do? Anyway, when this is on 1.4, this notch has to be lined up with the head like that. So I got to move the sprocket within the chain. Alright, so I've got this lined up now. And I'm going to put the cam sprocket bolts in. Thread lock. I'm sure there's a torque spec for that. I have to find it. Alright, well, I didn't find a spec on these bolts, so I'm going to say 95 inch-pounds. Maybe a little bit more. Okay. Here's my look. Okay, so I didn't get as far as I wanted to, but I did get the engine in, and I got the head on and the camshaft installed. So tomorrow I'm going to put the tappet cover on and get the valves adjusted, and then I need to polish that clutch cover, and I need to do that before I can put oil in it. Once I have oil in it, then I can use the electric starter and spin it up and see if it has oil pressure, which it should. All right. Alright, so I got the tappet cover on. There's like 20 bolts and screws that hold that thing on. It's ridiculous. It ain't going nowhere. So now I gotta adjust the valves. So we've got 8 valves. The clearance, I set this to 1-4, so either 1 or 4 is at top dead center on firing. And so this one here, the exhaust valve is tight. I have all the tappets backed all the way off, screwed back. And this is cylinder 4, and they're both loose. So I can adjust this one. So this is 0.05 millimeters. Should have a little bit more drag than that, I think. That's too much. Feels good. There it is. Yeah, right there. Okay, that's good. All right, so 7 more valves. All right, so put the oil filter on it. So there's a housing O-ring on this bolt. Bolt goes through the housing. Should go right in there. Put some grease on there. Okay, a little persuasion. So then there is a spring and then a flat washer and then the oil filter. And this big old O-ring. I gotta take it off. I can see the O-ring is not where it should be. The little O-ring I can see part of it sticking out, so that means that O-ring is destroyed. So it would leak oil all over the place if I put it in like this. Should be something that takes 2 seconds, and of course it doesn't, because it's not really the right O-ring. It's some cheaply produced piece of junk. Screw around with this. Got that fixed. Alright, well, I didn't get this perfectly polished up. I can polish it more once it's assembled. I have to get this bike done. Let's see here. That looks like the right way. And I better put some grease on it. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. Oh, man. Slow down. Okay. How many people have done that? This is the tachometer drive gear. Alright, so we got the battery box, which I painted 2 months ago. And the stuff goes inside it. So these are the, these kind of go in like the bottom and the sides, so the battery can bounce around a little bit and be buffeted by these rubber things. And then these are like dowels and bushings that go in the mounting locations. And I think I'll take a little simple green and kind of like wash these a little bit and then put them together. Alright, so I got these kind of clean. Doesn't really matter how super clean they are. These could be a pain in the ass to get in. Let's see if I just do one. Yeah, they're not like super flexible as rubber should be. Anyway, I've got this wax or whatever it is that is used with putting a tire on. So let's see if that does any good. Here we go. Okay. All right. Do all these. I guess that makes more sense, huh? All right. So that, I think, is ready to go back in. All right, so I'm putting the battery box in. Just point here. Looks like I need some of that wax. other part goes here. And how does this work? So I've got this. I think it goes like that. Okay. Right? Yes. All right. It's like that. I think there's a bolt for that. Alright, so somewhere in here goes this activator for the rear tail light, and it looks like it's going to be the top one. That goes in there. Should I clean up this bracket? Do I care? Ugh, okay. I just noticed this is damaged, so I'll have to fix that. Okay, I think I have 100 of these things. Well, hey, thanks for tuning in and watching. If you've watched so far, I appreciate it. Not a particularly exciting episode, but this is a lot of what restoration of stuff is. A lot of tedious work, and I'm not even showing all the work. So hopefully, I think one more video. Hopefully I'll get it running in the next video. Hopefully it runs. I mean, it should. But hopefully one more video, and then this one will be done. I actually don't have the street bike right now. This one is registered and insured. The Z1R is registered and insured. I got to get the Z1R out of the shed. I have to finish that one. The XL600 is gone. Right, okay, well, hopefully one more video and then this one will be done. Probably the next video will be either another dirt bike video or do something with the Z1R. Thanks for tuning in. See ya.